Dr. Rade, we're coming up on 100 episodes. We're recording 91, I believe, right now.
I cannot believe it. I am so excited.
So to celebrate the 100th episode, we would love it if folks would send in anything. Email.
Not anything.
A box of chocolate. Email, voice memo, video, anonymous, first name, last name, someone else's name. Totally up to you. But if ChatEDU has had value in your life in some way or another, let us know. And we'll read it, share it, whatever, on our 100th episode coming up in a bunch more episodes.
That would be 9 more.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't sure if we count today or not.
I know. Well, it is a little tricky. Okay.
Excellent. Well, with that said, this episode of ChatEDU is sponsored by the National Center for Next Generation Manufacturing, February 19th and 20th. The National Center, along with the NAAIC, which is the National Applied Artificial Intelligence Consortium, will be in beautiful Miami at the Miami-Dade College. Check out that event at naaic.ai. So, Liz, despite the fact a couple things can be true at the same time. Oh, did you have a nice Christmas?
I did. It was lovely.
Fantastic. Did you get a My Little Pony?
No My Little Ponies. No Barbies. But lots of Lego.
You can listen to episode 90. That will make sense. So a couple of things can be true at the same time. We could be coming up on our 100th episode. We could, Dan Fitzpatrick, who we love, not just because he was very nice to us, but he just put out a post today.
Yes.
On, what is today? December 29th. In Forbes, which he writes for on a regular basis on AI and education, top 10 podcasts.
We are on that list.
We are not only on the list, but we are
number one.
Numero uno, right? So we could be coming up on 100. Number one on Dan's list of 9 other great podcasts, by the way. And a whole bunch of, I actually, because I respond to his prompt for this thing on LinkedIn, I suggested Ed Technical, which I don't know if you've heard Ed Technical. You have I don't know if it's a bead of sweat or a little glitter right in the middle of your...
Probably glitter because I've been doing a lot of crafting.
Okay.
Oh, good. Let's point that out to the audience.
I recommended
booger.
I recommended Ed Technical, which is a fantastic podcast, by the way. But anyhow, so that was really cool. So yes, coming up on 100. You posted that on December 24th, we celebrated our 50th download, not our 50th, our 50,000th download according to Spotify. Yes. I don't know if that's only on Spotify across all platforms, but whatever, it's a cool metric. Nonetheless, we have to give up as podcasters.
I'm not ready to give up.
No. I mean, it's over.
Well,
podcasting. Over. Yeah. It's done.
Oh, what? Is something replacing it?
All right. So according to The Verge, this is from December 22nd, the title is, "It's Finally Time to Retire the Word Podcast."
Okay. So just the word,
yes.
Not actually like what we do.
I wasn't sure how you would react.
Yeah.
You'd be like, thank God, finally. I'm so tired of this.
Well, it's funny because I often say that I've been tricked into this because we started, and now that I'm reading, we started as an audio podcast. And then all of a sudden, which is what this article is arguing, we are now on video all the time. And so many podcasts that started as podcasts are now being recorded on video. They include celebrity interviews and video essays and clips from traditional media being put in there, which we do.
Yep.
Well, Andre does for us. We reference them and then, whatever. So it kind of blurs this line between TV and audio shows. And when we started this, it was just record your voice. And now I have to, well, today I didn't, but usually I straighten my hair and I try to look a little bit nicer on a Monday than I normally would because I'm on TV.
Yeah, you could tell that it's the 29th and this place is shut down. We just snuck in here to record because we look a little schlumpy, I have to say.
Yes, we are both. Thank you.
Technical term. You look fantastic.
Oh, yeah. We look schlumpy. That's exactly what you said.
All right.
Thanks.
So according to The Verge, what term needs to be put in place of podcast?
Just shows.
Show. Yeah, show or shows.
So if somebody says, what do I do? I also have, because I list all the things I say, usually I'll say, and I co-host a podcast. So now I would say I co-host a show.
Oh, let's try that, right? I'm Matt Murphys.
And I'm Liz Rade.
And this is ChatEDU, the show about AI and education. In today's episode, what breaks, what sticks, education's AI future in 2026. We're going to look ahead, but...
First, we'll do our final rundown recorded in 2025, although this episode does air on January 2nd. And then we'll look at the year ahead, and of course, we'll end with another groovy Bright Byte.
Fantastic. Liz, this is a shocker, but let's start with a NotebookLM update.
Well...
Or two.
Yes, I did see this, and I'm not surprised that you put it in our rundown. So the title of this one is Organize Your Insights with Data Tables in NotebookLM from the Keyword. which is the Google blog, December 18th. So Google in NotebookLM has introduced data tables. It's another one of the tools on the right over there, which enables automatic synthesis of unstructured data into organized tables. So users can now easily extract and structure information like meeting action items, clinical trial data, or study guides and export it to Google Sheets. It's available immediately to Pro and Ultra users with broader rollout in the coming weeks.
We haven't prepped for this, but ready? Pop quiz.
No, I already did something with it. Okay, go.
Name everything in the studio on the right-hand side of NotebookLM.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And go.
All right. Video overviews, audio overviews, timelines, study guides.
Starts with an R.
Reports. Reports, yes.
I'm not sure timeline's in there, but go ahead.
I think under reports are the timelines.
Okay, carry on.
Study guide, flashcards.
Yeah.
Quizzes.
Yeah.
This new one, data insights.
Okay, think visual.
The
infographics. Think things that Gamma used to make and made 100
slide decks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Is that all of them?
I think that's it. And data tables, yeah.
Well, now
this is now going to check because
of course I am.
This is a fun activity.
That was not what I was ready. Oh, mind map.
My map.
Yeah.
It's funny because data tables now the rows are uneven, so I'm like, well, there's got to be something else.
Something's coming.
Data tables is hanging. Did you try this, by the way?
I did because I wanted to see what it would do with my daughter's history notes because that's very unstructured data, and I wasn't sure how it was going to put it into notes, and it did it really fast. The videos take a while for them to make, obviously.
Sure.
But this was, a minute. And this was her Unit 3 study guide, Honors U.S. History. And it turned it into a table with the topic on the left, the era or period, a definition or description, key figures or policies, historical significance, and then the source. There was only one source in there. But so, for example, just big stick diplomacy is the topic. The period was American imperialism, policy emphasizing military power as a potential threat to achieve diplomatic goals. Teddy Roosevelt, and then, quote, speak softly and carry a big stick, approach to foreign policy.
That sounds like brain rot to me, but okay. I also tried it. Did you want to know?
Yeah, I did. So what did you do?
So we have been working diligently on this whole Beyond the Bot thing where we are profiling lots and lots of stories globally of young kids, middle school kids, older kids using AI to solve real world problems. So I said, can you make a data table of all these initiatives, student-led initiatives, and organize them by kind of age band and also whether or not they were tied to a competition. So we've been talking a bunch about whether or not competition is required, which I don't believe it is, but it is nonetheless an important characteristic. All right, so data tables, good stuff. I think we are down with that. What will come next, we will see. Now, a couple of little notebook updates. This is from...
Can I just also point out?
Please.
Something?
Yes.
I just love when it says not in source because that just reminds us that this is grounded in her study guide. So like the annexation of Hawaii didn't have the president or anybody associated with it in the notes. So it just says not in source.
Interesting.
So I think that's just, again, a good reminder or a good demonstration that it is taking just what's in her notes. And so then that could, for her, trigger like, oh, that's not in my notes. I need to find it. Like, who are the important people in the annexation of Hawaii? Or I don't need to know. I just need to know the definition of the annexation of Hawaii.
Yeah, because as much as we, laud NotebookLM for being grounded, you found an error this week looking for some episode reference. I have occasionally as well. So my favorite was our colleague Jody Minotti. Kept referring to him as a female Jody because, it can be a confusing name. Yeah. So it also said that it needed to take a break and go out for a run or something. I don't know.
Yes.
I can't remember exactly what that was. All right. So another update here. This is Android Police, published in December 2025. NotebookLM wants to take one of its best features to the next level. And this is about, this is a nice shot across the bow, I guess, at higher ed. This is, I love that it's in a British voice as well, potentially. What are we looking at here?
Yeah. So this is taking the audio overviews and developing a lecture mode. So it was spotted by a leaker. The mode would generate comprehensive AI-led lectures from uploaded sources alongside existing formats like the deep dive audio format and the debate format, because you can kind of change those and tweak the settings. So users could, again, choose the lecture length, short, default, or long, which would be up to about 30 minutes. And it would be delivered by a single host, unlike the podcast, which goes back and forth. And they can select the listening language. But there's no official rollout yet, but could be
Next week.
next year, which is next week.
Yeah. So, and then, so we don't make this week in NotebookLM, just a couple of quickies here. I did test this in my personal Gmail account. It's not working in the education accounts yet, but if you're in Gemini, you can actually, when you go to add a source, like you're adding an attachment or a Google Drive, you can now add notebooks. Part of what this is handy for is that I have like 4 different notebooks that I've built on careers and skills and career planning and AI literacy. But sometimes I just want to like reference those together. And so you can actually upload all 4 notebooks to Gemini and then query across all 4. You can build I saw someone do a demo of building like an interactive website using the NotebookLM stuff. So it is a way of like doing more grounding, as you said, over Gemini. So that's kind of interesting. Not notebook related, but a kind of new feature that we've seen some teachers telling us about, and I went and played with a little bit. In Google's slides, there's not on every slide, but a bunch of slides will be a little button there that says beautify, right? So it is, as Liz likes to say, it is nano-bananifying the slide. Kind of interesting, not too bad. And then finally, this is sort of neat. We've both been playing around, and we had Yaron Overeem on a while ago talking about vibe coding. One of the things that's weird about vibe coding is that you build the vibe coded app, but then deploying it, right? Especially because when you build it, it really just like lives in your web browser. If I wanted to share it with you, it's not super simple. Right. And if you needed like a database and login, and there's ways to do all that stuff, but it's not super simple. Try and play around this tool called Opal that they're combining with a gem. And you can sort of see where they're going. This is also, I think, pretty much in your vanilla, like your personal Gmail account, but I fooled with it a little bit. Couldn't get quite as far as I could in like, aistudio.google.com for like vibe coding an app. But you can build a kind of cool app, but then because it's a gem, you can deploy it over the kind of gem architecture.
Okay, like to a Google Classroom or something like that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's good stuff. Should be really interesting.
Okay.
All right. Now, finally, one other little kind of tool, techie thing. This is from OpenAI, and this is ironic at the end of the year, which, again, when we air will be the beginning. But OpenAI allows users to adjust the stuff directly in ChatGPT. Now, this has been out for a little bit, but they've just made it a bit different, right? So I don't know, maybe a month ago, you could pick from these 10 archetypes like, snarky and nerdy and straightforward. I can't remember exactly what they are called. Actually, I think I have a picture of it here.
Professional, candid, quirky.
Yeah. Andre, this is in the doc. You can throw that in. I am, as you can see from my screenshot, I am on efficient. But they've now added 4 important other drop-downs within that field called characteristics. Choose additional characteristics, customizations on top of your base style and tone. So I'm efficient, but Liz, what are the 4? I feel like this requires a drum roll, or Andre, maybe it's like some breaking news, because what are the 4 characteristics that you can pick from?
Warm.
Okay, snooze.
Enthusiastic.
Snooze.
Headers and lists.
Handy, right? What does that mean? That's sort of like how the formatting happens inside
right.
the
Are there going to be a lot of bullets?
Yeah, okay. But the biggie.
Emoji.
All right. So I guess they decided there's just no way, because as anyone who's listened to this podcast knows, I have obnoxiously droned on about how I can't stand the emojis in ChatGPT. And as much as I committed to memory and blah, 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 like they could fix the M dash, but apparently emojis are just so hardwired into the language model, we can't get rid of them. But apparently now through this little customization dropdown called characteristics, we can have less default or more.
Yes. So you are now set on less?
No, absolutely.
And has it been less?
Yeah, actually, I think it has. So.
All right.
Yeah, this whole article is in TechCrunch by Anthony Ha. December 20th, 2025. Do you think that's how Anthony says his last name?
Probably not.
Okay. All right. So that is all the tooly type stuff. Now let's get to something, I would say a bit more substantive, but these tool things are interesting and important. And they're actually like a big reflection of, like when we think about AI and we talk about risks, sycophancy is one of the primary issues, right? And all this customization stuff to some degree is about wanting more or less sycophantic AI. All right, but let's talk a little bit about deepfakes, AI literacy, and we'll kind of keep the conversation going here. So this is from the Associated Press. Heather Hollingsworth, also towards the end of December. The title is The Rise of Deepfake Cyberbullying Poses Growing Problems for Schools. Now, this is something that we talk a lot about, both here on the podcast and certainly in our work with school districts, including our work with school boards. Not a shocker, but important just to remind folks that this is escalating in a bad way.
Yeah, this, having 2 high school teenage girls, this article just really makes me nervous as a mom, makes me nervous as a educator, just in so many ways. But schools are confronting a surge in these AI-generated sexually explicit deepfakes that target students that are often created from innocent images. These tools are so easy to use. They've driven this explosive growth in cases, with reports of AI-generated child sexual abuse materials skyrocketing in 2025, which is awful. States are responding with new laws, and some students and educators have faced criminal charges. But I mean, basically, we know schools are not prepared. They may have policies, but how this all rolls out, victims are facing severe and recurring trauma. And that's the part that, you can have a policy all you want, but you can't stop kids and you can't stop the trauma. And once kids have experienced this, it does not go away with a, 1-day suspension or even an expulsion for the student that did it. Like, that trauma is there. Parents need to have proactive conversations with children about deepfakes and reporting and support. But I live with 2 teenage girls who feel like, oh, everybody who has my photos, I trust them. They wouldn't do anything with it, but their pictures are everywhere. And, it's difficult for my girls to literally choose an outfit in the morning, because Adam and I just say just put something on and go to school. It's not that easy, because they know they are literally being at risk of being filmed, photoed, and shared at any moment, at any time. And so it's not as easy as just throw on a pair of jeans and a sweater and get off to school. Because
it doesn't solve it, right? But certainly one of the reasons that or one of the maybe knock-on benefits of the phone bans at schools, that there is a little bit less digital capturing happening on a regular basis.
I don't think that's true, though, because the phone bans are happening during class for the most part. So unless you're at a school where the phones are in pouches, my girls have their phones, they're allowed to have them during study hall, they're allowed to have them in passing time. So, there's so much access.
I think that's going to change. I mean, I think we're going to see more bell to bell. We'll talk about this and it'll be one of our kind of predictions for next year. But I think we're going to see more. It doesn't solve it, right? 100%,
Yeah.
right? Your older daughter, by the way, just followed the ChatEDU TikTok account. I don't know if you're aware. And it was like, I was like, oh, who's this? And then I clicked on it, and she's got really cool furry boots, by the way.
She's got some very cool furry boots.
But I was amused by the fact that just a picture of Taya in her furry boots has 10 times the number of views and likes that we have on some deep and meaningful exchange we have here on ChatEDU. All right, so a couple positive. Were you aware of this factor?
I knew that she followed it. I don't even know if I want to go and see what's on her TikTok, because I don't follow her.
Yeah, don't look. This is a tricky one. When we go through the lists of risks when we're working with schools, there are ways to, even the AI companionship stuff, challenging for sure, but there are great resources like the Sparks Toolkit, Common Sense Media Guidelines. Teachers are building their own literacy materials around this stuff, hallucinations, bias, sycophancy. There's ways to kind of deal with this stuff. The deepfake thing is really, really tricky. It is critical, just if you're in a school district in the K-12 realm, that your school board does not yet have a policy around deepfakes. You need to have one. And it's not super complicated to do. Feel free to email us at chatedu@edadvance.org. We'll share some samples with you. But I think this is important both in the kind of handbook guideline stuff that's student and parent facing, but also in board policy. The feds can do it, then we can do it, right? All right.
Well, and it's also just so hard to tell now with deepfakes. When we first started this work, it was but look at this. Or it's getting harder and harder. The deepfakes are everywhere. I was with my parents this weekend, and they're laughing at stupid videos, and they're but I don't even know if this is real. And I'm yeah, half of them aren't, and half of them are, or more. They're hilarious cat videos, but is it really a cat?
And that's where we're going. So to combat that, right, two or three little quick hits here. One, this is a really nice piece in the New York Times, Christmas Day. The class where screenagers trained to navigate social media and AI. It was a profile of a teacher in California named Valerie Ziegler, who is actually training other teachers around the state and to help students and other teachers identify misinformation, deep fakes, and algorithmic bias or manipulation online. So in classrooms, her students learn how to fact check TikTok history posts or analyze the incentives of influencers to put things up online, or learn that these kind of verification badges can be BS, especially on places like X. And the students develop skills to practice spotting deepfakes by noticing visual clues like unnaturally smooth motion. Again, though, as you said, this is getting tougher and tougher. There were some interesting examples I wasn't familiar with, including AI-generated clips. This one I think I did see falsely portraying Jake Paul applying cosmetics, a fabricated video of a person falling off of Mount Everest, and election-related deepfakes such as images of the Statue of Liberty in a burqa, which was tied to Zohran Mamdani. So number of other pieces. So, it's good that she is literally digging in with her kids on the content.
Yeah, but it's tough work because social media moderation is
they've given
weakening,
up.
right? The AI tools are evolving faster than detection methods. So teachers are doing a lot of improvising curriculum while they're waiting for formal guidance. So there are some great models and materials that we've seen. The Digital Inquiry Group, Stanford's Craft AI Literacy Project is amazing. Code.org has some absolutely fantastic resources. The MIT Media Lab has a AI literacy course, I believe. All of these projects are collaborating with school librarians who are leading some of this work and with other schools to adapt older media literacy stuff to be updated with the AI-driven reality of what is actually there.
Which is funny because you worked on a statewide commission here in Connecticut on digital media literacy, which actually just kind of rolled out here this year.
Right.
And I know you and I are asking a lot of questions about, is the digital media literacy curriculum interfacing with the kind of AI literacy? Didn't sound like that was there yet, maybe this coming year, but here in California, in North Carolina, these things are kind of coming together, which is really appropriate.
Yeah. 25 states at least have passed media literacy legislation. So Connecticut's not there yet, but we will be soon, I think.
Right. Nice. It is interesting at the very end. They're sort of depressing. I'm not sure what to do about this, but one of the things that she points out is that a bunch of her kids have this kind of mindset where they just don't believe anything at this point. It's kind of just nihilistic. She says, and I quote, "They have heard so much about things being fake online, they don't necessarily know how to tell, and they may have just given up." And I think that does become dangerous, right? For democracy, for culture, for society. So we have to keep, doubling down on these efforts. One small thing that we've done as an agency here at Advance, the nonprofit regional education service center, serving Northwest Connecticut, but obviously all over the country. Actually, two things to point out. So a number of the resources that they are using in this profile in California, Craft, Code.org, MIT Media Lab, we have at Skills21, let me see if I can do this from memory, skills21.org/AI/resources. Wasn't actually that hard. Scroll down on the page for a little while. There's a PDF that's just called AI literacy resources, and there's links to all this kind of those types of tools. Also, in the world of social media, right? Because you can ban the phones all you want. At some point, kids still need to understand what in God's name is happening with, from a STEM perspective, with doom scrolling, with algorithms, with brain rot, whatever we want to call it. And so we have a really nice curriculum called The Social Balance. There are 12 activities there. The first set of activities do dopamine, algorithms, FOMO, doom scrolling, but from a STEMmy perspective. And then the next set of lessons are really about, and activities are about agency in terms of reflection, boundary setting, digital detoxes, fostering positivity in your feed, which is something I try to do a bunch. So that is there, and it's a free resource to folks. So that is at skills21.org/social-balance. And if anyone's interested in grabbing that, you are welcome to it. Just reach out to us.
And it's a neat curriculum because it's teacher facing, and the kids don't actually have to be on tech to do the work. Cam, our colleague Cam, wrote it so that kids didn't have to be on the thing in order to be able to think about the thing.
We'll try to remember more and more to share this during the 26, during 2026. We have already had some folks. I was out doing some work in Wyoming, and a group of teachers from Wyoming grabbed it. I think Cam's got some people from globally, maybe New Zealand. So yeah, just feel free. This is a free resource that we're happy to share with anybody. Okay, Liz, it's time to go beyond the box.
Love a Beyond the Bot story. You know that.
I know you do. And you know what's cool about these Beyond the Bots is that Beyond the Bot is, when kids are using AI to solve real world problems, they're using AI as an applied tool, not as I love that thing from last week. It's not the one chatbot per child tutor. These are kids collaboratively building the skills to use AI to solve real world problems. And so many of them are global, right? So this one is from India. This is Google announces the winners. Now look, Google is definitely feathering their Google cap with this contest, but whatever. I think this could be Gemini. It could be any other tool. Google announces winners of the Gemini AI Fund My Crazy Student Contest.
Yes.
All right, so tell us about this one.
Well, there were over 29,000 entries in just 9 days.
That's crazy.
With Indian college students using Gemini AI as a thinking partner to tackle real campus problems. So let me tell you about the top 3.
Okay.
So number 1 is called Fako Pay, which was from a student in Delhi, where it's an app where you can use AI to scan and split cafe bills. So pretty cool. The next one is called Swapper, and that was from Jaipur, a swipe-based barter app for unused student items. Huh. So I kind of like that.
I know. What comes to mind?
I mean, just like...
the next one's about actually stuff like, hardware and tools, right?
Yeah. So the last one is called Rest in Pieces. And this is...
it's very funny.
Yes. From a student in Salem. So this is an eco-conscious marketplace for repurposing hardware from abandoned student projects. So finalists applied Gemini AI to practical challenges. And so we have these examples, but predicting food waste, designing digital outpass systems, building travel networks, showcasing how students are moving from idea to solution using AI, not as a tool, but as a problem solver and a collaborator. And Google highlighted that 95% of Gemini users felt more confident, with many citing its role in structuring ideas, testing assumptions, and creating presentations. So this really reflects a shift in how AI is embedded in student innovation. It's so cool.
Yeah, I can make a very strong prediction for this coming year. I think it's on our list, but we are going to cover more of these stories, and we're going to say 3 things, or at least I'm going to say 3 things obsessively about them. One is that this is just engagement. Look at the number of kids that submitted around this.
29,000.
Yeah. I mean, we know that this type of project-based learning drives engagement. And that's been historically true forever in the world of project-based learning. The world has shifted, though. And I think the other 2 things that we're going to keep coming back to is that this set of skills that you develop in building Swapper or Rest in Pieces is the career survival guide in a labor market that has been reshaped by AI. The ability to use AI to solve real-world problems becomes critical, along with all the associated human skills, collaboration, problem solving. And the third thing is that if the youth think that AI is just a mess and bad for the environment and bad for them, we just have to keep coming back to these examples where kids are using AI to solve real world problems that there is uniquely kind of been at the doorstep of their generation. So there you go. Now, we wanted to do 2 other pieces that are in the spirit of Beyond the Bot, but that was a fun story. Thank you for sharing that. And of course, all these links will be in the show notes. Amazon has been partnering with a really cool outfit called PlayLab. You and I keep bumping up against PlayLab. I think this may be the first time in 91 episodes that we've talked about them, but PlayLab is a nonprofit. They have a platform, right? They've got a very cool platform that they've built that is essentially free. I mean, it's really interesting. I spoke to their chief learning engineer, I believe he was, a couple weeks ago, and they have a platform where you can use generative AI, but it's got some guardrails. It's got like bits and pieces of Magic Schooly type stuff, but it's very constructivist. Like you can just build interesting stuff on it. It's open. It's sort of free, but then as you use it more, you can work with PlayLab to figure out, what the business model or what the cost should be. It sounds squishy and it's really interesting, but anyway, they have huge partnerships with Google, with Amazon. So in this case, Amazon has invested $800,000 to bring more of this kind of like challenge-based learning. They were an original partner on the White House Presidential AI Challenge, which we need to do an update on pretty soon because I think it is upon us. So tell us about this partnership with PlayLab.
Yeah, so they have Amazon has expanded its AI education initiative to reach nearly 500,000 students across 18 educational partners in 7 U.S. regions. So As you said, they've invested $800,000 to support custom AI tools, hands-on student projects. If you need a guide, I have one. Teacher training tailored to each district's needs, so not just a one-size-fits-all. And this is part of Amazon's broader commitment to train 4 million learners and 10,000 educators in AI by 2028.
Yeah, I love it. And so along with that, we're going to share a link to this really interesting Notion page, like the platform and tool Notion. This is PlayLab AI for Action curriculum. This is essentially a project-based curriculum flow that PlayLab has put up to use their tools for kids to solve, youth and adults to solve real-world problems, right? So the curriculum combines technical skill building with ethical discussions, emphasizing design thinking, critical analysis, and community engagement. And it culminates in a showcase where students present their AI solutions, so something I suspect you get behind. I know you weren't going to hype your book, but I will, in Learning They'll Love.
Yes.
From ASCD. All right, now finally in this sort of realm, like you see, we started a little bit dark on these deep fakes, but we want to just kind of share some things that may be useful and empowering. It doesn't solve the deepfake issue, but good kind of foils to help students build agency and skills as well as adults. So this is really neat. ASCD and ISTE has been doing something that we talk informally a lot about, which is most schools that we work with, although this is not true across the country, have like a vision of the graduate or portrait of the graduate.
Yes.
When you look at those skills, right? They're very consistent all over the country, if not the globe. Jonathan, in his episode about policy, talked about how New York State has a statewide portrait of the graduate. In reality, they're all super helpful for navigating this very odd labor market that we have inherited or created or whatever you want to call it. Some of them are more powerful than others. Like if I had to look at, I don't know, throw me two portrait of the graduate skills.
Communication and collaboration.
All right. So both goodies, right? And if I think about communication and collaboration in the world of AI, well, AI is automating some communication, but AI is not really, collaborating with AI and collaborating student to student or human to human becomes like a power skill. So maybe like, collaboration gets the win over communication. Then take something like managing ambiguity, right? Or learning to learn or adapting to technical change, which we see all three of those, or empathy, leadership, judgment, judgment and discernment. Right? So you could take managing ambiguity, learning to learn, navigating technical change, discernment, judgment, and critical thinking.
That's
and make a
very different than what I see in most.
Well, that's why they have to be rewritten.
Right. Right.
But at least you could take your portrait and say, okay, great. I think this is a great activity. We should do this with schools in 2026. I'm sure schools are doing this right now. You could look at your portrait of skills and say, given the AI reality, like which of these are power skills? And then which of them are like still important?
So how would you define that?
I don't know. I'm thinking on my feet here. Well, okay. I'm thinking on my tuchus, quite honestly.
Yeah. I mean, there is so much.
They're AI power skills. I mean, is that what you mean? Like, how would you label them?
Yeah. Like what makes something an AI power skill over a non-power skill?
Yeah. I think the conversation is the first really interesting part, right? Because we all have portraits. In reality, we've said for a long time, these portraits are really critical for any labor market, but they're especially critical for an AI labor market that has been reshaped by AI, and some of them are just more important. So I think like having the conversation is step one, and then figuring out some clever, I don't know, ask ChatGPT what to call them.
I mean, the other critical part is that schools have to live these portrait of a graduate and not just...
Come on. We just had a Christmas. We're moving in the new year.
I know, but...
Of course they are.
Yeah. Every single one of them.
Your point's well taken, but I think this is one of those pressure points. I think the labor market,
it has to change.
The labor market, we're just seeing so many kids who are 22 years old that are living in their parents' basement, is that we just
with college degrees in a variety of subjects.
Yeah, especially computer science.
Yeah.
All right, kind of glass half full, my bad.
Right.
So, PlayLab resource, New York Times story about AI literacy, the social balance campaign or curriculum that you can take advantage of. And then now finally, this kind of like portrait of the graduate from, this is an organization you know a little bit about, right? Were these guys called ISTE, A-S-C-D?
Yes.
All right. So tell us about this. This is Richard Cullotta, who is the CEO, has been speaking a lot about this new kind of like AI-infused portrait of the graduate, what it means to be a high school graduate that is AI ready. This is from Education Week, Allison Klein. Tell us, Doc.
So ASCD ISTE, or ISTE and ASCD, has released a 6-part AI-ready graduate.
Are you under contract where you have to say it in any particular order?
I think they say it as ISTE plus ASCD.
Sorry to interrupt. Carry on.
Yes. So this graduate profile defines what high school students should know and be able to do with AI before graduation. So there are, the call is to shift from just teaching what AI is to helping students think with AI and use it with purposeful intention. I think we've been calling that applied intelligence, right?
Yes, you did. That was very clever, by the way.
That was you.
No, that was very clever.
Kulata said, this is about the human thinking that has to happen before you even get to thinking about what tool or what prompt to use. So these 6 key roles students should be prepared to step into. So learner, using AI to get unstuck and seek feedback. Problem solver, collaborating with AI to brainstorm. Researcher, to verify information and identify areas of agreement with AI support. Connector, using AI to overcome language barriers, helping people with differing perspectives understand one another. Storyteller, which we talked about last week, leveraging AI to communicate through video, audio, and images. And synthesizer, reshaping complex or misaligned information using AI so it fits the user's level of understanding and purpose. So this last role is you don't have to accept information that isn't appropriate for your level of expertise and purpose.
AI will meet you where you are, but also scale up with you as you go.
Yes.
Okay, great. And this is, not just a theory, right? I believe this is being tested out in a couple different places, including Winchester Public Schools in Virginia.
Yep. They have embraced this profile and they are using it as a visual and strategic guide within schools. So their superintendent described it as a useful entry step that helps students and teachers approach AI with clear goals and ethical consideration.
Yeah, I love it. And we could argue one way or the other about a particular skill or frame. I think it is correct to think about it. I'm a big believer that discernment and judgment in a world where we've got a lot of AI generated content becomes a super important skill. I don't see it here necessarily, although I think you could probably extrapolate it from one piece or another. Right. Exactly. I think that the really critical piece is, as they point out, it's not a tools conversation. It's a mindset and patterns of thinking conversation. And this is a great starting place. So we will link this to the show notes. ISTE ASCD, I'm not just saying this because they're going to publish our article on applied intelligence and have published your book, but this is, kudos to them. I think this is exactly the right way to think about it. All right, Liz, we're about to hear me talk about me. I'm a narcissist, about the AI winter micro-credential. I have to ask you every week. It starts when? January? You said Martin Luther King.
It's Martin Luther King Monday.
Okay, great. So this is releasing on January 2nd. There is still room, so feel free to sign up. Go to skills21.org/AI/micro, but you will now hear us talk all about it. A bunch of new updates in the course, which is exciting. If you enjoy our insights on AI and education, don't miss out on our next 6-week AI and Education micro-credential launching this winter in partnership with Southern Connecticut State University. This self-paced online course for educators and leaders in primary, secondary, and higher education across the globe covers AI essentials from foundational concepts to advanced skills like prompting, AI-driven assessments, and multimedia creation. We've added a bunch of new content for the winter cohort, including a focus on emerging risks like AI companions, energy, and the environment. We'll dive into the latest on NotebookLM, which could be a course unto itself. There are new student AI literacy resources in the Future Focus module, as well as important updates on student-facing tools like custom gems and guided learning in Gemini. And finally, we've added Google Vids to our great collection of multimedia AI tools that we cover. Each cohort includes 4 live Zoom sessions for hands-on support, and participants earn a Credly digital credential upon completion. Visit skills21.org/AI/micro to sign up now.
All right, Matt, it's time to go beneath the surface. This week, we are going to give 5 predictions for the year ahead.
This is tricky because as you look at the year past, which is what we did last week, and you look at the year ahead, right? I mean, there's a tendency to want to overlap some of these things, but that would be a snooze. We don't want to do that. So as a reminder, here are the 5 things that we said were like the big themes last year. And honestly, all those big themes will be really important next year, but we don't want to, we want to kind of differentiate these. So last week, we talked about, real quickly, platform stuff. So the ascendance or significant ascendance of Google as compared to wrappers, ChatGPT, FERPA, all sorts of framing. We talked about AI companions and emotional support and the complexities around that. We talked about beyond the bot, as we were just describing, the increasing importance of students using AI to solve real-world problems. We talked about the big Vs, your favorite, voice, video, VR. I was so proud of you, by the way. You just nailed them last week. I didn't have to cue or anything. So voice, vision, video, and VR. And then finally, we talked about this like premium and human relationships in a world that has more AI slop. I don't always love the word slop. I had
the word of the year.
I know. I just had like country, whatever. I don't know. I put some song on and my Google Home was just playing music. And all of a sudden I'm like, I heard Breaking Rust's Walk My Walk.
Right.
And then I heard like another Breaking Rust song, which is these AI generated country songs. So it's weird that like as you're just listening to, Chris Stapleton and whatever else, all of a sudden you're listening to these AI generated country songs. So in that world, we make this case we made this case last week that this human premium of students and adults just having authentic learning experiences, social learning experience in and out of school becomes really important. So that was last week. Now this week, as we look ahead to 2026, we have kind of 5 themes as well. So let's start with durable assessments. Oh my God, that had been the theme for the last 3 years. But
yes. Well, will durable assessments finally kill the take-home essay?
So that was that's our prediction.
Yes.
And Ethan Mollick made that prediction, 2 years ago in this piece he did called The Homework Apocalypse. And I think he did 2 versions of it. But yeah, tell us what you're thinking.
I think it's pretty dead. The traditional take-home essay. Schools, I hope we will see, will shift to entirely durable assessments, tasks that AI cannot replicate, like interactive oral assessments, in-class writing, specific performance tasks to ensure students are generating original thought rather than just prompting a bot.
Yeah. If it is take-home writing, I think go look at the AI assessment scale. Look, I'm making a little triangle like the AI assessment scale. I don't think it's actually a triangle. It's a square. If you look at those levels, right, level 4 is students writing a research paper or writing, expository essay or 5-paragraph essay or whatever, but with AI where they're submitting their chat transcripts and their prompts along with the written assignment.
Final.
So there may be writing that happens out of school, but it may be like more of this level 4 type stuff.
There can also be writing out of school that is not the assessment piece of it, right? Like that's the example I gave with Taya doing the research and the writing on her progressive era person, but the actual assessment was the speed dating that happened in class.
I love that activity.
I know.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, sure. It's a lot more process, right?
Yes.
Which we're seeing a ton of.
Yeah.
All right. Prediction number 2. So I think we could say that, as a bundle of stuff in prediction 1 for next year. Durable assessments, the straight ahead take-home essay is dead, more process stuff, and also more like collaborative writing with AI and FURSY 4.
But what I don't see as dead is math homework.
That's because you're a math geek.
I know, but I think that there's a lot more changes going on in humanities and that the math people have been fighting this AI stuff for so long that they know that students can do the work using AI, but that it's to the student's own detriment because ultimately the kid is going to have to do the work in class on a test. And so it's up to the kid. So I think it's almost a shift in what is being assessed and graded within this
system. It's more process stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah, so we would call that the photo math advantage.
Sure.
I do love that moment in faculty meetings where the math people are just like, yeah.
Welcome really? To our world. Yeah, we've been playing this game for years.
All right. Number 2, vibe coding will enter the core curriculum, right? So we've been really excited about this. Please go back and listen, if you haven't heard it, the episode with Yaron Overeem, who's vibe coding with kids as a project-based task, which is really cool, as well as building some stuff for professional purposes inside of his school community. But the idea that, and I think you and I are doing some math stuff, in fact, in a couple months here in Connecticut at the Atomic Conference.
Keynoting the Atomic Conference.
And then doing some sessions. And I think we're just going to see more and more applications of vibe coding. We're going to need to figure out the FERPA bit, right? So this is the ability basically for teachers to create, I love the word bespoke. Could that go away in 2026?
I love that word.
But it's the ability for teachers to create bespoke software experiences specifically. So like you're building a skill or you see that your kids are struggling with a particular skill. You're just like, let me vibe code up a little math practice app that will like discreetly drill down right into that skill.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. Like works really, really well. What we have not solved yet for, as we said before, in the kind of Opal Gems thing is the sharing of them as well as the FERPA compliance. So I think that's a bridge we're going to have to get across.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3, this has been a lot of fun. But again, huge shout out to Anna Mills. It just seems like a genuinely nice, thoughtful, interesting person. But she was really kind to share some of the stuff that we did featuring her work on the podcast over LinkedIn. But it's all about these agentic browsers and AI agents. So what's the prediction here?
That AI agents are going to force a rethink of the learning management system.
That would not be Anna's argument, by the way.
No.
Her argument is that the learning management system people need to do a rethink of their allowance of these kinds of agentic systems. Although this kind of
is what it is, right? Like that AI is going to force it, right? So, I mean, we know right now that AI agents can with some support from their user, can log into a learning management system like Canvas, like Blackboard, like Launchpad, and complete tasks autonomously and complete a whole course. So,
do you know Blackboard's going out of business, by the way?
No way.
I think they're. I may have just ticked off something that's totally not true, but I'm pretty sure I read a piece that they are restructuring. I don't know if they're going to bankruptcy or some venture capital fund is buying them out, but yeah, they've fallen on hard times.
Blackboard brings me back to my college days.
I know, not me.
You didn't even have an email address. Anyway, these AI agents are going into those kind of platforms and are able to complete essentially an entire course. So Matt's prediction is that schools are going to have to block agents or fundamentally change assignments to prevent AI from completing entire online courses for students.
Yeah, this one and our final prediction are really all about technical abilities, and we'll see. This is going to be a battle of technical ability and will and alignment to dollars and incentives. It's a little bit messy. I did love the piece that you did, I think it was last week, which were sort of 5 online learning assessments that, an agentic browser really couldn't do for a kid. Because much to your point about Taya's speed dating activity, the thing that the kids need to do is show their knowledge and skill by teaching other kids or coaching or a range of other activities.
Well, it's tough because online courses and being able to do courses asynchronously and literally from anywhere in the world opened up so many opportunities for education. And so many people, in some cases, they were more cost effective. You could do them at any time. You could move at your own pace or even move with, at a pace with the course. And that has been democratizing for people to be able to upskill, reskill, study a whole new field. But this could really pull back so much because people are really untrusting now of oh, so you got your degree from XYZ online. Does that mean anything?
If you do, I think this wrong answers only thing is almost at some level I'm like, this is, so what we're speaking about here is that twice now on LinkedIn, Anna Mills has put up, this prompt, which is students should be able to use agentic browsers to work the stuff in their Canvas or LMS, and then wrong answers only to that provocation. It's subversive though at some level, right? Because the answers are so funny, but they're also so cutting and so clear.
Yeah.
So kudos. We will keep championing that work. All right, number 4, we're going to make a prediction here, which Jonathan Costa, our executive director and boss, would be very happy about. I don't know if it's true. Some of these may be more aspirational than what we really believe, but the reality is, for all sorts of reasons, just-in-time learning, the ability of AI systems to get closer to being a really pretty effective just-in-time learning tool, as well as the fact that AI literacy is now a new thing that we need to put on top of everything else. As that list of stuff grows and grows and grows, we really have to think about number 4, which is leaning out the curriculum. I used to call this thinning out, but Jonathan, who's really focused on body mass index, is now calling it leaning out.
Okay. We do not want to fat shame the curriculum.
What's interesting about this is the timing, right? So we acknowledge that there's a pressure point from AI. There's more stuff that needs to go into the curriculum. And in reality, Jonathan, I think, made a really compelling case a couple episodes ago when he was guest hosting while you were out on tour. Sounds like you were with the dead or something.
Yeah.
That there are some policy shifts that really require us to rethink this focus on things like the portrait of the graduate skill. So for all sorts of reasons, we need leaning out, and we now have democratized a tool that will help anybody do this. I mean, anybody could throw either their own individual single lesson or unit or year scope and sequence, or grade band scope and sequence, or curriculum spile, or curriculum maps, all the way to K-12 district of a million kids. And you could use tools like NotebookLM to do a really thoughtful critical analysis of overlap, redundancy, misalignment to core standards and power standards, et cetera, et cetera. So I think the moment is now.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Glass half full. It's the moment. They're going to do it.
Now, our fifth prediction actually stands in somewhat stark contradiction to our first prediction, which is that the take-home essay is dead and that detection doesn't work, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to make a possible, again, this is just sort of like a thought experiment, but in every major technical evolution, right, there has been this kind of like cat and mouse game, not maybe as stark as it is right now, but we did see signals last year on two fronts. One is the homework and assignments and essays that kids hand in. The other is the deepfakes that we talked about before. So on the deepfake front, we saw real progress with tools like SynthID from Google, right, which are getting really good at identifying both deepfake videos and deepfake videos and images. The problem is that everybody has to agree with Google to have it be a standard. So, there's also this tool called Pangram Labs, which for about 3.5 minutes, people had thought had solved the AI content detection problem. We're going to predict aspirationally that there will actually be like technical improvements on both deepfake and content detection, but it doesn't mean that it ends the cat and mouse game. And you buy that? You think I'm full of it?
Kind of do.
You think I'm full of it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be a little less glass half full. I don't know that it's going to fix any of it or change the cat and mouse game, especially in schools.
In a way, it'd be a bummer if it did, because at some level, right, both in the higher ed, I mean, there's this reckoning that's happening in higher ed. There's a reckoning that's happening in the middle and high school curriculum. And teachers are making and professors making all sorts of really thoughtful moves around like assessment in the curriculum. I don't know if it's solving the attention span issue and long literacy issue, but nonetheless, teachers have been very thoughtfully adapting to the reality of this thing. So if all of a sudden content detectors work, I don't know. But it just happens. Did you see A Mountainside with Steve Carell?
No.
It's sort of about like this nihilism that kids feel, right? Yeah. Where like there were these deep fake videos and they would happen on TikTok and nobody could know what was real. But the big secret power that like one of the buddies had on their billionaire mountainside compound that they were on was the ability that one of them had like a detection tool that would solve the deep fake problem. And I think whenever there's a commercial pain point that is so significant and there's money to be made, if you follow the incentives, Pangram Labs or SynthID, somebody will figure out how to make some advancement. But it's fine. I'm down with you calling BS on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of it is a little bit of what you said of that, like, so if we solve it, then are we just going to go back to 5-paragraph essays being written at home?
Wouldn't you like to know at some level, though, when you get an email from somebody, you'd be like, I thought that was AI. No, you don't care.
I don't really care.
Okay.
I just don't. I mean, I feel like we had made all this progress through the pandemic and we were like, look at what all these kids are going to do. Like, this is going to change education. And now we're back 5 years later and nothing fundamentally changed. Sure. And like, we're talking about, like AI is going to finally force kids to have to do durable assessments, or teachers are going to have to rethink, and we're going to have to lean out the curriculum and all of these things. And then like, if somebody solves for that problem, that we can detect anything that they write as AI, like then all these schools are going to be like, oh, see, like we can go back to a 5-paragraph essay being the epitome of education because we just throw it through a detector instead of thinking. Point
well taken. I mean, the beauty of it always being a cat and mouse game is that whatever they come up with, SynthID or Pangram Labs or whatever, there'll be some tool 5 minutes later, some open source Chinese model that will circumvent it. So,
I mean, kids are so smart.
Have you seen that clip? There's a really funny clip that the Simpsons did on this like cat and mouse game thing.
No.
I wish we could play it here, but we would be, taken off the air. We'd no longer be able to podcast. Oh, that's okay, because now we
make
shows. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, one place where we can end on a consensus glass half full.
With our Bright Byte.
Exactly.
All right. So let's end with this year's Bright Byte.
Fantastic. All right. So this one's interesting. And these have run the gamut. Like we've scanned for cancers, and we have put out forest fires and detected floods, and just so many interesting Bright Byte stories. I love that we do this. I can make a firm prediction that in 2026 we will keep Bright Byting it on the show, the ChatEDU show. So this one is about chicken feathers.
You picked this one just for me on Fiverr Arts, didn't you?
I did.
It's like a Christmas present.
All right, tell us about your Christmas present for me about chicken feathers.
Okay, so the title of this is Everbloom built an AI AI to turn chicken feathers into cashmere. So the source is TechCrunch. So Everbloom has raised over $8 million to launch Braid.ai, a material science platform that uses AI to transform the keratin-rich waste, which is things like wool scraps, down bedding, and soon chicken feathers, into biodegradable, high-quality textile fibers such as faux cashmere. Braid.ai fine-tunes processing parameters to replicate the feel and performance of various fibers by optimizing how materials are blended and extruded, enabling precision design of fiber characteristics. So this AI-driven approach allows for scalable, cost-effective, and sustainable alternatives that work with existing polyester fiber machinery, targeting both environmental and economic impact.
I'm not sure I've ever seen you so happy looking at a Bright Byte.
This is the best Bright Byte we have ever done.
All right, well, I'm going to throw, just because I don't want to end the year entirely on chicken feathers, I'm going to throw
This is not about chicken feathers.
I understand.
This is about so much more.
About faux cashmere.
Cashmere is so expensive.
Yeah, no, it's a super interesting example, and I think that it has been really enjoyable. I think we did an editorial last week just pointing out the fact that the obsession around generative AI has taken our eye off the ball on these type of machine learning, right? This is essentially an AI vision and machine learning model. So these are fun stories. We'll keep talking about them. I'm going to sneak an additional prediction in, though, for 2026, if that's okay.
Okay.
I think it's going to be important, right? When we think about deepfakes and all the nihilism and some of the downstream negative consequences of what we just talked about in these last, 50 some odd minutes, I think it's going to be critically important because we've covered a bunch of pretty promising medical breakthroughs, stuff that's helped with hearing and sight and drug discovery and disease detection. We need a really big medical breakthrough. Like we either need a huge energy breakthrough like nuclear fusion or a really major breakthrough like a fundamentally efficacious drug around Alzheimer's, ALS, Parkinson's, something, right? And, incrementally, these are great. Like if you go back and look at all the Bright Bytes, they're super, super encouraging. But if we're really going to lean into all the negative downstream consequences of potential job dislocation, energy, the environment, I'm simplifying this, but this is a hope. I hope it's an accurate prediction, is that next year you and I are covering a Bright Byte that is as cool as chicken feathers, but as important for people that will really demonstrably change the quality of people's lives.
I agree.
You down with that?
I'm down with it.
All right, Doc. I know it's January, but to you and I, it's still December.
Yes.
So it has just been a delightful year. And as always, beyond grateful for you and the whole team here. A big shout out to Justin Pascoe, Gary Robinson, Cameron Audia,
Jonathan Costa.
And certainly Jonathan Costa. So the whole team, it looks like it's just you and I doing all the work.
There's so much more that goes on behind all of this.
And
Andre.
And Andre, yes. Sorry, Andre. You should have been first on that list. Yeah, so we're just really, really grateful. Oh, of course, and to Kittles.
Oh, yes.
To your mother.
Who you are banned from speaking to anymore, having her change her phone number.
So yeah, thank you to everybody. Thank you to all the listeners. Please, if you can, we would love it if you would send in an email, a voicemail, a video, a carrier pitch in, some chicken feathers, whatever makes sense, and just let us know any way in which ChatEDU has been instructive in your life and or a question that you're dying to know about Liz's relationship with her mom, Kittles. So Liz, with that, I believe it is finally one last time in 2025, soon to be 2026. It's time to
roll those credits. As always, we'd love to hear what you think. So please let us know at chatedU@edadvance.org. That's EDADVANCE.org. And also rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you are using. ChatEDU is brought to you by EdAdvance, the nonprofit regional education service center in Litchfield, Connecticut. This episode of ChatEDU is sponsored by the National Center for Next Generation Manufacturing. ChatEDU is recorded, edited, and produced by Andre Angelo and Justin Pascoe, whose dedication and expertise bring our discussions to life. ChatEDU's executive producer is the multi-talented rock star Cameron Audia. Additionally, we are grateful for the support of our colleague Gary Robinson, and we appreciate his time and talents. And of course, a big ChatEDU shout out to our fearless leader and executive director, Jonathan Costa, for inspiring the pod. And finally, a heartfelt thank you to our listeners for joining us on this journey exploring the thoughtful and innovative integration of AI in education.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Costa, and I am the executive director at EdAdvance, and I want you to know how much we appreciate our listeners. If you enjoy the podcast, feel free to explore EdAdvance's other AI services, which include customized professional learning of all kinds, conferences, our new middle and high school student AI literacy course, and our Educator and Leader micro-credential, co-sponsored by the Southern Connecticut State University Office of Workforce and Lifelong Learning. Just visit skills21.org/AI to learn more. That's all for now, and thank you for listening to ChatEDU.